So this video is to help you understand how the structure of every basic Python arcade looks like. It can be kind of hard to see when you're looking at all of the different examples, but they all follow pretty much this structure. So we've got the game here. This class my game, and you can see everything's indented within that. That is all the stuff that makes up a game. Down here at the bottom, we've got the stuff which kind of starts up, the startup of things. This game is fairly this line here is self-explanatory. That's the window width and height and the title of it. And this my game is basically saying make a window out of this my game here. And when you do that, it automatically runs this initialization function. So this will always happen. It's not actually called down here, but by saying make me a my game, it runs this. And at the moment, all I've got in this is just change the background color. And I've got a print statement so we can actually see that it's happened. Typically in here, you set up things like sprite lists and any other sort of window initialization. You'll see as well we have this game.setup, which is this function, which basically does pretty much the same kind of thing. In fact, in some examples you'll see there is just an init. The thinking is that the init kind of initializes the window, and then the setup is sets up the game to start. So if you wanted to like play the game again, you'd rerun the setup without having to reset the window. That's the idea. Yeah, but you will sometimes see that it's just the init. So I've got print init, print setup, and if I just hit play on this and we run the game, just wait for the window to pop up, and you can see down here it says init and it says setup because it called the init and it called the setup functions. So once we've done those, the game is up and running, and then we enter the game loop. And that is basically these two functions, the onDraw and the onUpdate, each of which happens every frame, so typically 60 times per second. So anything with drawing to the window, like drawing sprite lists or drawing any other shapes or whatever, all happens here. If you don't put it in the onDraw function, it does not get drawn, it does not happen. And then secondly, we've got the onUpdate, and the onUpdate is is pretty much where most of the logic of your game goes. So in terms of detecting collisions or just doing any game logic, it's all happening, most of it will be happening in here, probably anyway. I've got a couple of print statements here. I've commented them out for the moment because, of course, these two print statements happening 60 times a second kind of overwhelms the output window down here. So that's the basic game loop that's going on all the time. So that's where your logic goes. But also we have events that happen. For instance, the user pressing a key or moving the mouse. So we've got two functions relating to key press. And so when you press a key down, we get what that key is. It's right here. And I've just done a print statement to show that. And when we let go of that key, let's just have a look at this happening. So the window's open, init and setup have run. So if I press A, that's 97 pressed, 97 released. If I press and hold A, 97 pressed, let go of it, released. And then there's B, C, D, E, F, and you'll see, you're probably aware that that is the ASCII codes for those characters. There's other numbers which apply to other things on the keyboard. So for instance, left shift and right shift each get their own key. Spacebar is 32. Etc. You can look those up, but actually there's an arcade library which tells you basically which each of these numbers is, which makes your code a lot more readable. But that's for another video. So while we've still got this window open, let's just move it to one side. I've also got this on mouse motion. So every time the mouse is moved, we get told what the X and Y coordinates of the mouse cursor are within the window, and we also get told how much it's moved. And in the X and the Y, so change in X, change in Y. So if I woggle the mouse over the window and keep moving it, you can see each time it's telling me what the XY coordinate is and how much the X and Y has moved. So the faster I move it, typically it jumps more than 1 pixel at a time. If I move it slowly, it's moving like 1 pixel at a time. And then there's also the mouse press, which we can see right here. Again, it tells us the coordinates that the button was pressed and which button was pressed. So if I go over here and press the left button, that's button number 1 at 185146. Right button, button 4, and middle click is button number 2 at that same coordinate. So that can be useful in your game as well, detecting where a thing was clicked. Let's just, I think probably the last thing I want to do here is just uncomment these two. Oh, I should say one other thing. There, as well as the on mouse press, there is on mouse release, just the way there's on key press and on key release, if that's useful for you to know. Let's just take these two out. So they're actually going to happen all the time now. Close the window and restart. And you will now see a flood of on draw function and on update functions happening down the bottom. And if I move the mouse in amongst it, you can see there's stuff going on.